Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. In case you're new to this channel, let me share something with you. My investment thesis, as it pertains to cryptocurrency in general, is very simple. It is utility matters. Utility will win the day. I think without utility, the staying power of any cryptocurrency, days are numbered. The time allotted for a cryptocurrency that never achieves utility, real-world adoption, finite. It'll be a finite amount of time, most certainly, from my humble perspective. Now, none of that's financial advice. It's just, I don't have a financial background. This is my everyday Joe Schmo type of opinion. I'm an enthusiast in the XRP community, and I do happen to firmly believe that something being used, actually matters, or else why are we putting money into this? Sounds more like a Ponzi, does it not? Well, take a look at this. As it turns out, a crypto giant, quote-unquote, that's how it's labeled in this particular article, says big money is betting on, yes, certainly XRP, and they name some other altcoins as well. Now, it's interesting, and the reason I want to cite this, and of course this article is not just about XRP, but I like watching this space unfold, and from my mind, this is an XRP-centric channel. I'm always thinking about the way in which the asset class is evolving and how XRP is being perceived. So yes, big money, okay, certainly this is obvious. It's in XRP, not just Bitcoin. And I think as the frenzy around the asset class continues to die down, which is going to frankly take a long time, I do suspect, I think the rest of the world is going to figure this all out. Now, we don't know what all of this is going to look like, and if somehow, and I've said this before too, if Bitcoin ends up magically getting some sort of traction in terms of real-world utility, which I'm skeptical of, majorly skeptical of at this point, okay, that can change everything. I am operating. My opinions are based on all knowledge available to the general public today. Things can change. I reserve the right to change my opinion, but I don't see it happening. I don't see Lightning Network working. And even the way it was conceived, it's like completely antithetical to the concept that Bitcoin was in the first place, so it don't make no damn sense to Moon Lambo. So I'm going to be covering this piece, and again, the title of this piece, not just Bitcoin, crypto giant says big money betting on ETH, XRP, BCH, LTC, XLM, ETC, and Zen. So I'm going to be talking about that. And then in this piece, I guess they really wanted the thrust of it to be about this huge Bitcoin whale draining a crypto wallet, but they included some interesting information about Ripple. Actually, that's really what I want to cover, so I'm going to focus on that aspect of this article, having to do with jobs at Ripple, actually, among other things. And I got an opinion from a chart analyst regarding XRP price action. I want to share that with you. And then I'm going to wrap up the video with this piece from Cointelegraph, which is titled Bitcoin Futures, Institutional Long Positions Value Doubled in October. You say what you will about Q3 compared to Q2 in terms of cryptocurrency price action, but look at that headline. So I'll be getting into the specifics. And look, XRP, it is, whether we like it or not, largely heavily tethered to the price action of Bitcoin. So where the asset class goes, XRP will go as well. Even though, as I've cited recently, XRP has led the market on at least 2, maybe 3 occasions this year. Prior to that, never happened. What I'm talking about when I say that is XRP price starts moving, Bitcoin follows. Never used to happen like that. It was always Bitcoin is king. Wherever Bitcoin goes, everything else follows. And then even if there were an independent parabolic shifts upward in price, which those happened all over the world of crypto, fine. But Bitcoin didn't follow. And that's a key difference. That is an absolutely crucial key difference. And people that have a ton of money invested in Bitcoin, they will do everything they can while markets are fairly illiquid to do everything they can to make sure that Bitcoin remains number one market cap. But I'm still telling you, utility will win the day. XRP will be number one in market cap unless something fundamentally changes. But before I go any further, and I've shared some thoughts already, I promise this wasn't just a 4-minute intro. I already said some stuff I wanted to say. I really did. But before I speak any further, if you would please delicately tap that like button. If you're a fan of Ripple and XRP, yeah, it's a new coin. If you're a fan of Ripple and XRP, please subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel. You might have a gosh darn good time. You might hate it, but hey, you can always unsubscribe if you don't want to hear from me ever again. But don't do that. It would crush my soul, and I want to be a friend. So let's get back into this first piece here. Having to do with this crypto giant. And who's the crypto giant? It's Grayscale. Grayscale's institutional investors are increasingly looking to gain exposure to the altcoin market. Rehana Sharif Askari, God, that's the best I can say that one, the company's director of sales and business development, tells Block TV that Grayscale's third quarter numbers demonstrate a growing interest in the firm's altcoin trusts, which include Ethereum, XRP, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Stellar Lumens, Ethereum Classic, and Horizon Trust. And I'm about to read a quote on this. And before I read the quote, I just want to say, think about all of those people out there who said, no, people like, the likes of Tone Vase, Max Kaiser, they're always talking about, no, there was a huge pump and the altcoins had the rally in 2017 and then the day of the ICO was over and now it's just Bitcoin. Bitcoin's king. These other coins, they're all going to zero. There's nothing to be seen here other than just the positive price action for Bitcoin. That is the narrative that Bitcoin maximalists like to push by and large, is it not? It's not from all of them, but from some of the most notable ones. Like I said, in particular, Max Kaiser really comes to mind. He says, nope, all the other altcoins going to zero, which of course includes XRP. Utility doesn't matter, apparently, but then again, he probably doesn't know what he's talking about as it pertains to real-world adoption of XRP, so consider that as well. But here's the quote now. I think it's important to take a step back and look at the bigger picture and the broader trend. The fact that we have, over time, been moving away from Bitcoin maximalism, where Bitcoin represents a safety asset in the space, shows that investors are more comfortable diversifying beyond just Bitcoin, and that's really positive. In Q3, we had about a third of our flows go into products that were not Bitcoin, whereas looking back to Q2, that number was about 25%, and in Q1 of 2019, it was just 1%. Whoa! Massive shift from Grayscale. This is just absolutely massive here. Now, I'd like to see that a major entity like this, a crypto giant, as it is portrayed here by the Daily Hodl, recognizing that there is still action. Because look, even if they don't have the same investment thesis as me, at least in the short term, which is utility matters, even if they just think there's going to be a flurry of price activity, and even if, I'm not saying they're doing this, but even if they just wanted to get their piece of the pie the next time there's a parabolic shift up, the point being, and this is not stupid money, they believe that these cryptocurrencies, again, XRP among them, going to go up. This is not stupid money. Now, again, they're not trading, they're not FOMOing in, they're not panic selling. I'm sure they're much more disciplined than the average retail investor. And I can I brag on myself a little bit? I am much more disciplined than the average retail investor. I do not have panicky emotional responses when the price of XRP goes down. I don't care. I'm here for the long haul. I understand utility matters. And then the quote continues, so I think as we see a more balanced demand picture, it's indicative of a longer-term trend that is positive around the space and encouraging with respect to traditional investors continuing to embrace this new asset class. And indeed, absolutely, and I will continue to shout this from the rooftops. The crypto asset class is not going away. All you need to know, because think about this, if you believe like me that utility matters, all it takes is one use case for just one cryptocurrency to take hold, and the asset class is here to stay forever. And there's sure as hell a lot more than one use case. Even just with XRP, there are multiple use cases. And the piece continues, total investment in a Grayscale's products totaled nearly $254.9 million in Q3. Of that total, 84% came from institutional investors, also fascinating, a large majority of which are hedge funds. The altcoins are seeing more investment. The company's Bitcoin trust exploded. Grayscale reports $171.7 million in Bitcoin inflows in Q3, the largest quarterly investment in the product's history. Well, how about that? Take a look at this now. I don't really have a lot of interest in talking about this Bitcoin whale here. Okay, so I'll just give you the quick synopsis here. That was redundant. A synopsis is quick. Anyway, I'll give you the synopsis. 12,474 Bitcoin transferred. They don't know where it went or who owns wallets. There you go. Let's move on to the Ripple stuff now. Check out this right down here. Here we go. Ripple just launched a new engineering blog along with a video highlighting what it's like to work on cross-border payments and the XRP ecosystem. The company's global hiring spree continues with 55 current job openings, and here's the tweet pertaining to this on your screen right now. And here's the list of all the jobs. And so I don't know what the total employee count is for Ripple right now, but it's got to be, if I had to guess, it's probably pushing 400, right? Because the last I heard it was, 300 and something. I can't really remember here. They're growing. The reason they're growing is their technology is being adopted. And even if you wish that more of it had to do with on-demand liquidity, formerly known as XRapid, it's coming. Those corridors are being built out. But the X-current portion, it's now just known as RippleNet, but the messaging portion, that's what X-current was, well, still is, just called something different now. This gets confusing. Anyway, that is being widely adopted, and it's not surprising you see that adopted on a more notable scale first. But that's okay. As long as we keep seeing adoption of both heading in the right direction at whatever the pace is, that's cool, and the pace at which it's adopted will increase at an increasingly exponential rate. There you go. Just keep watching for that, and you shall see. The network effect will continue to increase, which makes it more enticing for others to enter the ecosystem as time passes. Take a look at this piece here. Just a real quick synopsis here. God, I did quick synopsis again. God, that's redundant. A synopsis, Ripple XRP price following uptrend. Okay, and then they talked about Lincoln Matt. I'm not going to talk about that stuff here. Basically what they're saying, I'm going to really be real quick with this one here. Not a lot of price action happening, obviously, lately today. Like, it's okay, crypto's volatile, but it's still trading within a notably narrow bandwidth considering the traditional volatility we've all become accustomed to and we just love, don't we? But what this particular analyst is saying, it's not particularly negative. It just tends to think that we're not going to be dipping below 29 cents in all likelihood. It could be a minor pullback, but the support level is 29.6 cents to 29.2, basically is what they're saying there. And so, nothing horrendous. So if you're wondering in the short term what is happening in the world of XRP, kind of a snoozer. Last year, though, I do find this interesting. Cointelegraph. Bitcoin futures. Institutional long positions value doubled in October. One class of investors has more than doubled the value of the long positions it holds in Bitcoin futures contracts this month. According to fresh data from analyst Skew Markets on October 22nd, the value of institutional investors' long positions went from below 500 Bitcoin, which is $4.11 million, on October 1st to over 1,000 Bitcoin, which is $8.23 million, on October 16th. The gains reverse a decline in institutional longs from September. The launch of Bitcoin futures from Bakkt coincided with open interest falling from around 1,300 Bitcoin. Here's a quote. For reference, institutions include pension funds, endowments, insurance companies, mutual funds, and portfolio/investment managers whose clients are predominantly institutional, Skew clarified. And typically when it comes to institutional investors, I have seen commercial banks included in that as well, but it's just not cited here anyway. And then piece continues. What lack of interest? ? Bitcoin futures were thought to have taken a longer-term break from being top of the agenda for institutional investors in the face of last month's Bitcoin price downturn. Despite assumptions on sentiment, industry players have more recently begun to dispel the myth that interest is waning. As Cointelegraph reported, Grayscale, the world's largest crypto-focused asset manager, went on record to confirm that clients had steadily been pouring funds in throughout 2019. And I already kind of reported on that, but it's also that portion is already covered, also covered in this article. And so, look, crypto's here to stay. All is well. If you're a long-term thinker, as am I think that if you're making reasonable investments, and again, not financial advice, no financial background here, I'm just sharing with you my humble opinion. There are notable asymmetrical profit returns yet to be made. I don't think we've seen the end of this. There's just a tiny fraction of the world that even knows what cryptocurrency is, and even fewer know what XRP is, and the adoption is just starting to kick in, and I think that will, as I stated, increase at an exponential rate. So there we are. But you can tell me what you think below. I love hearing from you. Feel free to drop a comment. That's it for this video, though. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!